Good morning, my Teaserking family. How's everybody today? Well, I continue my hot run. It's just amazing. So I hit everything yesterday, 6-0, and I end up going 7-1 for the weekend. My three locks win: Arizona State over, Oregon getting 2.5, and SMU getting 3.5. SMU had me sweating, but we scored with like 10 seconds left to tie the game, and then somehow Clemson went down and kicked the field goal, which was perfect. I didn't want overtime. So what a fucking day. And I already hit Green Bay, Detroit over on Thursday. And I have that with the lock today, and I have the lock that I played with Arizona State over with the lock. So this lock's played twice. Let's look at the scores here. So Ohio, Miami of Ohio. Let's go through this. The total was 45. I go under, and it's 38-3. Ohio, 41. I'm under 51. So there's a winner. Arizona State, Iowa State. Arizona State 45-19. The total was only 49. I went over 43. And the first score I saw was 31-10, which was 41. And I was close to it. So they end up with the 64. I'm over 43. I wish all my best for this easy. The third one, Georgia, Tennessee, or Texas, 22-19. Georgia wins. You can't make Georgia an underdog, like you can't make Tom Brady an underdog, and you can't make Mahomes an underdog. They played a good game, and it's going to be close. You can never, if you get a chance to take Georgia, what did I have? 8.5 points. That's just ridiculous. They're not going to get blown out in a big game. That's very, very rarely. Marshall 31-3. I've got Marshall plus 11.5. I point out the new quarterback Braxton was 17-2, and he had a big day. And they just new quarterback for Lou Lafayette, and he didn't show up. And I got Marshall plus 11.5. The first score I see 17-0 Marshall, so I'm getting 11.5. So I won by 40 there. Oregon 45, Penn State 37. This was a lock. This is lock number 2. So lock number 1, Arizona State over with Iowa State. Lock number 2 is Oregon because they were only laying 3.5, which is a joke. So I got Oregon plus points against Penn State, really. Now, I was shocked Penn State's offense because we didn't see this at all in the whole year. Where was that against Ohio State? The over-under in the game was 50. So you could have obviously went over 44 had you known. Now, I knew Oregon was going to score, but I didn't know Penn State would answer. So that's why I locked Oregon instead of the over there. Again, this was a 14 defense and a 16, but Penn State hadn't played anybody the whole year. They played one game against Ohio State and lost. Outside of that, that shows you how weak Ohio State is. Oregon kills Michigan. Ohio State loses. Ohio State barely beats Penn State 20-13. Oregon puts up 45. So don't tell me Ohio State's any good because they're not. And you're fucking with my Indiana. Indiana can score like this too. That'll be a good game, Indiana and Oregon. That'll be an over for sure. And our last game was 34-31 Clemson. It's 2.5 SMU. I take SMU in 3.5. They're a much better team than Clemson. Clemson got a break in the early and got up 21 to whatever, and then SMU just outplayed them in the whole second half. We scored with not maybe 10 seconds, 20 seconds left to tie the game at 31. Now I'm sitting there going, it's 21-7, and I see SMU's driving. I go, we'll be okay if we get to 21-14, and then we can get to then we can tie it up, and we're getting 3.5. So we hope for a field goal game, which is exactly what we got. Instead of tying it at 21, we tied it at 31. Here, the over-under was 56.5, and they scored 65. So again, the over hit in Oregon, not in Marshall. Marshall's over was 57. This is where I like Marshall and 11.5 more than I like the total. So I study it going, do I want the total? Do I want the team? And sometimes it's a hard call, like with San Diego today. Do I want San Diego in 10 or do I want to go under? And that's, you kind of judge it. Most of the time it doesn't matter. They both come in or they both get blown up. But that's what happens. So if we go down the list, we have Army Tulane over 39. It's a 49. We win. Our only loser of the week was Boise UNLV, where Boise beats them 21-7, a very strange score. These teams, they don't have, Boise doesn't have a good defense, and Vegas does. I'm very shocked, but I stayed away from Vegas plus 10.5 because it was at Boise. I said, well, this could get it, but it should be high scoring. So I was very disappointed Vegas didn't show up. They're a better team than that. Oh, it was cold out. Yeah, who gives a fuck? So anyway, so that's what's happening in college. What a week. 3 locks, 3 winners. It's the way it should be. I'm so hot in college. It's unbelievable. So we go 6-0 yesterday, 7-1. This is why I tell people, why would I give it to you at a discount? There's 3 locks. I go 6-0 yesterday. You could have made a lot of money instead of dicking around going, well, there's not 30 games. Well, it doesn't matter. It's about winning and losing. It's also about fair trade and free trade. I'm not giving my picks away. That's why I don't. You got to pay for them. And I think it's worth it. That's the service I'm offering. I can do this, and I'm showing you week in and week out. So, please don't insult me by saying, oh, give me a deal because there's only 7 games. Now, next week, I won't do anything. I'll just include it in the pros, the Army-Navy game. We'll look at the line, and we'll look for all the bowls and the playoffs. So it's like a 3-week thing because it starts with the Sun Belt teams, and then it gets into the other, and then it gets into the playoffs. So you get all that, and all the way through the championship game for the 100. And it's really confusing. Is Michigan, are their players going to play? Why did they play against Ohio State? They could have gotten hurt, right? This is the point I fail to understand is they sit there, and in the bowl game, they don't want to play. That's the time they should play. Everybody's watching you. Not, okay, if you're going to play against Ohio State, you probably should play in the bowl game. Oh, we don't want to get hurt. Then go play tennis. What the fuck is wrong with you? These are people I would never draft because it shows they have no passion for the game. And if you don't have passion for the game, why would I draft you? Enough said. All right. Let's go. Well, let's take a look at the NFL. 1 lock today. There just isn't. I like a lot of games, but I don't have that feel for the lock today. Just 1. I looked at it. I loved it. That's it. The rest, probable. You're not sure, or I just don't feel it. Let's see. Let's see if they announce. How to watch games. They're on fucking TV. What do you mean how to watch? How to watch the San Diego, Kansas City game. Micah Parsons wants Coach Mike McCarthy to return. Isn't that adorable? I'm not sure I want you to return the way you're playing. Jets, Brees Hall out. Sauce Gardner doubtful. There you go. Take Miami. CJ Mosley on IR. Well, there you go. Half the Jet teams, and they're not very good anyway, are out. NFL closes the investigation on the latest Deshaun Watson sexual assault allegations, citing insufficient evidence. Well, was the evidence torn up and thrown away? Is this like a Biden case where they, oh, well, I don't see the evidence? Yeah, people are making it up. I'm sure they got nothing better to do. Let's see. But we see how good Deshaun Watson's playing, so we really want that. The Lions' fourth down call wasn't just gutsy, it's how they have played. As I explained yesterday, when the Lions go for it on fourth down, it's got nothing to do with making it. It's about pressuring the defense psychologically that they go, oh shit, here it comes. And they'll sit there and, it's here it comes, but it's just a mindset that the defense, you want to get off the field. So that's your job. 3 and out, and you go and they punt. But the Lions make it fourth down and they go for it. Really fucks up the minds of the defense. That's why he does it. It's not about making it. Because when you watch the plays, the 2 touchdowns he did on the other day from the goal line, he could have ran those on second down and it would have been a touchdown. So he waits till fourth down to run it. Very curious. The guy's wide open, so don't tell me you couldn't run it on first or second down and get your touchdown. So he's playing mind games with the defense. It's what he does. He plays mind games with his own players. Oh, we're going to bite kneecaps. What the fuck is that? Is he a good coach? No, he's a good motivator. He's not a good coach because his play calling on fourth down, all the fourth downs are just incredibly stupid from a coach standpoint. If you just Vince Lombardi, Woody Hayes, Bo Schembechler, Chuck Noll, Bill Walsh, they do those plays? Absolutely not. They punted the ball because they had good defenses and they were playing to the defense. So you punt the ball because you don't, if you don't make it, you give them good position. So you punt the ball. All those guys were pretty successful, I would think. All right. Let's take a look at standings, and then we'll get into the numbers. Buffalo at 10-2, and that's it. Miami 5-7. The Jets, New England suck. Pitt 9-3. Baltimore 8-5. Baltimore's off today. And then Cincinnati at 4-8. Poor Joe Burrow. They're the best 4-8 team ever to play. Houston at 8-5. Indy at 6-7. I think they're both out. Tennessee and Jacksonville. What a division. It's pathetic. It's as bad as the NFC South. Kansas City 11-1 has clinched the playoff spot. San Diego 8-4. Denver 8-5. Vegas 2-10. Denver's off today. KC plays San Diego. So KC's got a 3-game lead. If anybody's got their back against the wall, it's San Diego because Denver's 8-5. The way the playoffs look, you got your 4 winners: Buffalo, Pitt, I guess Houston, and Kansas City, and then it's wild card. San Diego 8-4, Denver 8-5, and Baltimore 8-5. So there's no drama there. Everybody's in. Baltimore can catch Pitt. San Diego and Denver can't catch Kansas City. So it's just everything's basically set there. NFC, Philadelphia 10-2, Washington 8-5, Dallas, keep the coach, he's 5-7. Detroit 12-1, Minnesota 10-2, plays today. Green Bay fell to 9-4, losing to Detroit. Atlanta and Tampa 6-6, New Orleans at 4-8, mathematically in it, but they're 4-8. And Seattle 7-5, Arizona and the Rams 6-6, and the Niners 5-7. So you pretty much have that. You have Philly, Detroit, Atlanta, Tampa, and Seattle, Arizona. The Rams are Fisco winning their division. Then you got Washington as a wild card with 8 wins, and then you got Minnie and Green Bay, 10 wins and 9 wins. And that's it. All these other 6-6 Tampa, 6-6 Arizona, and the Rams, they're gone. So they have to win their division. So every game in the NFC West is a must win for all 4 teams. The Atlanta Tampa must win. Detroit is a game up on Minnie and Philly. I don't know. They sound like Detroit has the 1 seed all locked up. What a bunch of idiots here. No, they're a game lead on Philly. And they got Buffalo next week. They'll probably lose. I don't know. Mini 10-2, big game for them today with Atlanta, and Green Bay at 9-4. They got hurt when Love hurt his groin. They lost a few games, so we'll see. That's how it stacks up. So really, backs against the wall today. Washington's off. I would say Atlanta, Tampa, kind of. And then the whole NFC West really backs against the wall, but really nothing there. Let's go to the line. All right, Minnesota is 647 to Atlanta. This has gone up from 45.5 to 47. Oh, wait. It would help if I was in the right game. 47 and 5.5, 6. Okay. So basically, Minnie, you go down to 0, or you get Atlanta and 12, and then 47.5. I'm not sure how I would play this game total-wise. Interesting. New Orleans 541 to the Giants. GIANTSS. New Orleans 5.5, up from 4.5. The Sharps on New Orleans and 41. I think it's the funniest thing I ever heard. Sharps. Yeah. If I ain't a Sharp, I don't know who is, but I don't make stupid bets like these guys. I have not eaten since Friday dinner. I am the walls are moving, and yet I went undefeated yesterday, so maybe I should fast every weekend. So I'm going to eat at 1. It'll be 43 hours, and too many sugar cookies. But see, this is the whole point. You eat your sugar cookies and you eat some bad stuff because of the holidays. Then you got to go through the hell of fasting to clean your body up. So your body's like freaking out with the sugar, so you kill it. So it'll leave your body when you do the fast. So I just didn't eat yesterday, which is 24 hours. When I said, well, I might as well sleep on it. I couldn't sleep. I was so hungry. It was so hard to get to sleep. And I had to keep getting up to pee because all you can do is drink water and coffee. So I'm full of that and no food. So I'm up peeing all the time there. It was hysterical. So New Orleans 5.5, 41.5. I don't know if the comments are they not working now? I didn't see comments yesterday. Well, I can comment. So you get a chance, comment, just so we know it's working. Tennessee, 3.5, 40 to Jacksonville. 3.5 and 39.5, 40. They're both Z teams. You got Mac Jones against Levis. Neither are NFL quarterbacks. Both Z teams with 28 defenses. It means they score 15 points a game. So I am staying far away from this game. I mean, you can't. Well, who are you going to pick? Maybe you take Tennessee because Mac Jones is terrible. I guess that would be my clue, but maybe you go under because there's no quarterback in the game. Tampa Bay and Oakland. Tampa Bay 6.5, 47. To Oakland. Oakland's a Z team with a 28 defense and O'Connell. Tampa an over team with the 25 defense and the Baker. Tampa, as we said, has to win, and Oakland's won 2 games. So again, a must win for Tampa. They're at home. Mike Evans is back. We will see. Pitt and Cleveland. Pitt 6.5, 43.5. Cleveland, a W team, has only won 3 games. They beat Baltimore and they beat Pittsburgh, amazingly enough. They got killed by Denver last week. So you can count on Denver, right? Cleveland, a W with a 26 defense, and Winston, who doesn't know which team to throw the ball to. There'll be 2 or 3 picks by him. Pitt, an A team, 19 defense. Russell Wilson's on fire. Pitt is 11-1 in a teaser this year. And it's revenge for losing to Cleveland a few weeks ago on that Thursday night. So look for Pitt at home to play much better. And Winston probably throws 2 or 3 more picks. He's a terrible quarterback. You can't read the defense. That's why he throws the picks. And it ain't getting better. Philadelphia, 13.5, 14, 45 to Carolina. So you can get a 13.5. I don't know what good it does you. And then a 45 down from 46. Carolina, Z team. Steve Young still sucks. 31 defense. Philly, an A team with an 18 defense. Hurts. Barkley, what do you do in this game? Because it's counter, like Philly should have no problem on this 31 defense. Steve Young's going to have big problems against his 18 defense because look what Lamar did last week. So Philly wins, but you're laying 13.5, 14. It's such a big number. All right, even in teaser world, you're laying 8. It's such a big number. So I didn't play Philly, but I did play the total. Miami, 6-45 to the Jets's, down to 45. We just saw that Sauce Gardner's out, Breece Hall's out, and another cornerback's out. Miami's much better at home as a favorite. Play against the Jets this year, 11-1. I'll go through all the teaser stuff. The Jets are an under team with a 22 defense, and Aaron Rodgers, they just aren't scoring. They have a terrible offensive coordinator. Miami, an under team with a 22, also with Tagliavua, who's, he's okay. The Jets, I don't think, have that strong defense because of, you got rid of Saleh. You should have at least made him the defensive coordinator. That's what he's good at. I love when these coordinators come and try to be head coaches. That's not what they're good at. Like the guy in the Lions, the offensive coordinator. Is he a good offensive coordinator? Maybe. Who knows? And he's going to be a head coach. Is he a good head coach? He was the towel boy a couple of years ago. He never was an offensive coordinator before. I think too much credit goes to the players, or not enough credit goes to the scheme. He's got balanced offense, 2 good running backs, 2 good receivers, a good tight end, and an okay quarterback, and a good offensive line. Me and you could be the offensive coordinator for the Lions, and they'd score 40 points a game. And like I said, the defense, and then the 4th downs are just pressure. They're just psychological. They've got nothing to do with look at how aggressive I am. It's got nothing to do with that. He's just trying to fuck with the defense's minds, and they go, oh my God, it's 3rd and 3. And even if they don't get it, we got 4th and 3, and we're going to be out there because they want to get off the field. So psychologically, the defense is 3 and out, and that's it. Hey, Greg and John. Okay, good. My chat's working. Nobody chatted yesterday. I was like, where the hell is everybody? But I had some viewers, but they missed out on a good one. 3 locks, 3 winners. So Miami, very good home favorite, 6-45.5. And they play against the Jets 11-1. I'd be shocked if the Jets win the game. They might not cover the 6 Miami, but they play much better at home in the warmth, especially against the Jets's. Busy with the holidays. You should be busy. You're making money. You could have made a ton of money yesterday, and then you could have a real good holidays. Arizona, 344.5 to Seattle. 2.5, 2.5 and threes. Seattle an under team with a 22 defense. Their defense looks like it's possibly getting better. Geno Smith's terrible. You have DK Metcalf. I don't know why you're throwing the Smith and Najima. He's terrible. Arizona an under team, 22. Kyler Murray, who once in a while shows up, once in a while doesn't. They lost 16-6 to Seattle in Seattle 2 or 3 weeks ago. What are you going to do with this one? Neither team has an offense. They got players, but the coaches have their heads up their ass. And, I don't know what they're doing. Kyler Murray's only good when he can run. If he can't run, he stays in the pocket. He's terrible. Geno Smith's definitely terrible. So 22 defenses. Arizona's got a pretty good defense, and so does Seattle. I would imagine this would be a close game. Buffalo and LA. Buffalo 3.5, 49.5. Buffalo's an A team with a 19 defense, Josh Allen, and LA's an E team with the 24 defense and Stafford. Buffalo's 11-1 in the teaser this year, so they win. Now, this is a tough game for them because they've clinched their division. They've flown out to LA from Buffalo, about as far as they can go. Fortunately, they don't have to go to Hawaii or Germany or Mexico or England or whatever. So Buffalo is going for the 1 seed against KC, but that's all their incentive, where LA needs the game because they're a game back of what is Seattle, and Seattle at 7-5, they're 6-6, Arizona 6-6. So LA really needs the game. They're at home. They don't have to travel. They should be able to pass the ball well. Their defense isn't that good. Buffalo's defense isn't going to do much against Stafford. I doubt it. So this is, I'm kind of avoiding Buffalo. If I play the game, I'll play the total. But Buffalo, they don't really need it. I mean, they need it, but they don't. There's a big difference. Backs against the wall, you need the game to make the playoffs. But when you've clinched your division, it's very hard to say backs against the wall. Frisco, 3.5, 44 to the Bears. Bears are an under team, 20 defense, and they got Caleb, who's not very good. Frisco, an E team with the 25 defense, and Purdy, who's not very good. Chicago with the 20 defense, and they kept the Lions out of the end zone a lot. They kept them to a lot of field goals last week. They got a really good defense. They played Washington 18-15 or whatever. San Francisco is just injury prone and hurt. Nick Bosa. Let's see who's playing if we have the injuries updated. This is as of December 5th. We got Cam Ward. No. Who knows? Mason, the backup running back's out. McCaffrey, we know, is out. Trent Williams is out. Greenlawn, we know, is out. Nick Bosa, doubtful with the hip. Lenore, injured knee, so he probably plays. And then Purdy, injured shoulder, he probably plays. So we don't know if we got Nick Bosa or not. And if he does, how long? These guys are babies, these Bosa guys. They're always injured. They quit on Ohio State. Oh, we got to get ready for the pros so we can get injured there. Unbelievable. So I just can't see the Niners lighting up the Bears with this defense, and Caleb's not going to do anything because Caleb sucks. The only time Caleb's stats look good is when the Lions' second and third string defense got injured, so against the fourth string. But then that great play at the end of the game where he didn't take a timeout. And then he threw a pass to the crowd. I don't know where he was throwing it. So we don't know what, in a normal first half against Lions, they couldn't get a first down. Frisco, they're injured. He might get, but they try to throw the ball 50 times, and he just dumps the ball off most of the time. Or he's airmailing DJ Moore. Occasionally he hits Keenan Allen. Keenan Allen's really crafty, and he gets open with these spin moves. Goes one way and cuts back, and the defender's ready for it. That's how he gets open. San Diego is really stupid to get rid of him because they need receivers. So I don't, Purdy's not going to really light the Bears up. So I don't think Purdy scores much, and I don't think Caleb scores much. Hey, G, you missed all the fireworks yesterday. 6-0, 3 locks. You could have made some money yesterday. Everything won. I love those days. It was all down. I had everything easy, and then SMU kind of made me sweat. But we had 3.5, and they scored late to tie the game. But the locks were Arizona State over, a joke, Oregon, a joke, getting 2.5, and then SMU getting 3.5. And then we did play one with today's. We got a lock today with Arizona State. I stumbled on Arizona State looking at their results, and I always think they have a great defense. And then I'm noticing they don't have a great defense. Kansas put up 48 on them. Some other teams, lit them up. And I go, they don't have this great defense. Their defense is not as good. And the total was 49. All I needed was 43. I had that, I think, at half or early in the third quarter. They were 31-10, so that's 41. And then I obviously went 38-10, and that was over. One lock today. I had 3 locks yesterday, and I was surprised you didn't buy the college. But, 5-0 last week, 3-0 this week, 8-0 in college. So next week we won't have college. We'll just buy the pros. You get the Army-Navy game. I'll mark it as a pro, and we'll go from there. But yeah, there's no games. I was surprised by Oregon. I thought they had a better defense, and I was surprised that Penn State had a better offense because they never showed it. And Drew Allard's running around like an idiot. Stay in the pocket, buddy. You're not a runner. Anyway, so one lock today. Pretty strong. I bet, 8 or 9 games. So there's at least 5 teasers. But just the one lock. I'm debating, do I lock this game? And I just didn't feel it. So it was a one lock day today. But I played it with game yesterday. Kansas City and San Diego. Kansas City 4-43. That line hasn't moved. Both teams are B teams. San Diego with the 16 defense, Justin Herbert. KC with the B with the 20 defense. So their defense isn't as strong as last year's. It was a 17, and of course Mahomes. San Diego's 11-1 in a teaser. So do with that what you will. I think this is a close game. I'm going back and forth. How do I want to play it? Either the total or the team. But I think this is San Diego plays close games. And KC obviously plays close games. And our last one is Cincinnati 5.5, 49.5 to Dallas. Line hasn't really moved. I think initially it was a 50. Now it's 49.5. Big deal. We've got an O team, an over team in Cincy, 28 defense, Joey Burrow, and Dallas, an E team with the 28 defense, and Cooper Rush, who's scoring a lot more points than Dak Prescott ever did, and he doesn't turn the ball over. Play against Dallas is 10-2. So let's go through the teasers. Play against Jacksonville is 11-1 in a teaser. Play against Tennessee is 10-2. Play against the JETSs in a teaser, 11-1. Minnesota 26-3 in a teaser the last 2 years, 11-1 this year. We've got New Orleans play against the Giants 10-2, play against them as a home dog 6-0. Pitt 11-1 in a teaser this year. Tampa Bay 10-2 in a teaser this year. Buffalo 11-1 in a teaser this year. San Diego 11-1 in a teaser this year. And play against Dallas is 10-2 in a teaser. Thank you, G. Oh, there you go. Sold 5 paintings. Good for you, G. Yeah, locks. 1 lock today, as I said, and thank you, G. Yeah, I've been on fire in both college and pro. So, like I said, I 6-0 yesterday, 7-1, including Friday. I've already won the Lions in the NFL, and I got pretty good plays, but nothing. I didn't look at a game and say, "Yeah, let's lock them." I was close on one. There's one team I thought, 2 teams I could have locked. I played them regularly, but I'm definitely on fire. So that's what you have. So you know who needs it. You know the injuries. Trevor Lawrence is out. You got Mac Jones, Rodgers and Tua, Cousins and Darnell, Carr against Locke. So Locke will quarter for the Giants again. Steve Young and Hurts, Winston and Wilson, Pitt and Cleveland, Jerry O'Connell and the Baker for O'Connell for Oakland, Smith and Murray, Seattle, Arizona. First 1 to 10 there wins. Josh Allen and Stafford, an excellent game there. Caleb and Purdy in a not excellent quarterback game there. Herbert and Mahomes, excellent quarterbacks there. And Joe Burrow and Cooper Rush. We know how good Burrow is. Rush is not bad. He put up 30-some on Washington, and that isn't easy to do. Caleb put up 12 on Washington, or 15. Well, how are you feeling? I mean, it's up to you. If you want to bet the games, yeah, I'd play it. And it's how do you feel? So I was watching this movie. It's an old Kevin Costner movie, like The Feel or something it's called. It's on Tubi. And this girl can card count. But that, so she's playing blackjack and she's winning a little bit. She doesn't know what she's doing. Kevin Costner kind of teaches her. And then there's this friend of Kevin Costner, and he teaches her about feel. So he says, don't card count, feel the hands and feel everything. And that's why I try to explain to you guys, that's what I do. It's all feel. I mean, I can see, we got Buffalo 11-1 in a teaser this year, but I'm not locking them because I don't feel it because they're on the road in LA, and I'm going, no, I've got to be careful. So you use the numbers as a guide, but you use the feel for the locks and the plays, and that's what I do. I felt Oregon yesterday, and then I felt Arizona State. SMU, I kind of thought they were just the better team, and Clemson, wasn't that good. And Clemson got lucky. They got off to a good start. SMU was a little nervous, fumbled the ball or threw a pick or whatever. And Clemson got up, but then SMU came storming. SMU had almost 500 yards of offense, and Clemson like 250. So the better team was SMU there. It's just they were nerves. And so that's what I'm watching here, like Arizona, Seattle. How can I lock that game? Or Tampa, Oakland, even Buffalo, LA. I can't lock the game. I can tell you who I think. KC, San Diego, Oakland, Tampa, Philly, Carolina. I can't play Philly and lay 8 and lock it. I don't do that. So I could play the total, but I don't know how safe that is. I mean, so it's always a little bit of maybe, but not. So it's up to you, G. It's how do you feel, and if you want to, bet the games. So it's always up to you guys. I feel tired, but if you feel good, well, uh, the way as hot as I've been, yeah. I mean, I'm picking winners out of my butt that are a joke, but I've got the lock, which you can finally play. I can give you who to play with. I played it with Arizona State, but I can give you that play. But yeah, I mean, most of them are pretty good. They need, they make sense. Um, so it's up to you. I mean, I don't feel as good as I felt yesterday with those locks. That's why there's one lock today, but I like it. I mean, I'm not going to give picks if I don't like the game. It's just how strong do I like it, and that's where the locks come from. So it's do I feel good? I always feel good about the picks because I've been doing it so long. I can always figure out who to take. So that's kind of where I'm at with it. Um, we'll see. Titus is 1-5 in his 18 teaser. He needs 3 today. He did lose he had SMU and Lane the 2.5, so he lost that part of it. But in the teaser plus 3.5, he won. So everything so far he's played because I won every game yesterday and the Lion game. So he's like 5-0 going into today's 3 games. So I don't need to ask him, how did you do? I know he had to clean up yesterday. Anyway, that's what we start looking at. We'll have the college bowls. I'll put it out next week. $100 for all the bowls and the playoffs in college. So it goes like 4 weeks. I know Todd's been asking for that. So yeah, I got to get my IT guy to change the college to the bowls. So that'll be out there. And the only thing in bowls is just the guys that sit out the last minute. Oh, I don't want to get hurt. And, I might get hurt. And, it's like, then don't play football. I hate that. So anyway, so next week, Army, Navy, and then I'll put it in the pros. So don't worry about college. Just buy the pros. And then the bowls will come out, I think, the next week. I hate this playoff system. It looks like the stupidest thing in the world. You got 4 Big Ten teams and 4 or 5 SEC teams. Oh, and by the way, Alabama with 3 losses is going to be in it. Are you kidding me? Let's not count the loss to Vandy, but let's not count the loss to Oklahoma. And they're a playoff team. So justify the playoff. Because you can't if you have Alabama in it. And you don't have like Ole Miss or some of these other teams. Anyway, so those are your games. So I played probably 5 teasers in this mess. I like them. I don't love them, but I like them. I'll probably win them all, just the way I'm picking. But we'll see. So again, we went through teams that need it. The whole NFC West needs to win. Minnesota needs it to catch the Lions. Philly needs it to catch the Lions. And the other, Buffalo needs it to catch KC. And then the whole NFC or AFC West, San Diego really needs the game over KC. KC has clinched the playoff spot. I think this probably clinches the division if they win because they have 1 loss. San Diego have 5. but I don't see them worrying about it with one loss to San Diego has 4, I believe. So not there. I think San Diego plays them good. I don't think San Diego can win. Maybe they can win, but I think they'll play them good. You got a revenge game, Pitt and Cleveland. Philadelphia against Carolina. Steve Young, probably 3 interceptions. He's going to be lucky to get 100 yards, but that's about it. But you never know. He's playing a little better. New Orleans and the Giants, I wouldn't bet that game with the 10-foot pole. Atlanta Mini, kind of both teams need it. We'll see. You got Minnesota 26-3 in a teaser. So my guess is Mini wins close. Well, we'll see. Jacksonville, Tennessee, I wouldn't play that. This is the problem. The AFC South, all 4 teams suck, and then they play each other. And then when they play each other, you eliminate. I eliminated Jacksonville, Tennessee, New Orleans, and the Giants. Those are the only 2 I eliminated. Indy and Houston are out. I would eliminate them too. You can't bet them. You don't know what you're going to expect. Now in the no, I didn't score the Detroit game. I have scored everything, so I'm putting my own score down. And we'll see how close I get. A couple of times I nail it, but we will see. So the college playoffs, what did we learn? Well, we learned, I don't know if Iowa State's going to be in it or BYU. Do they fucked? If so, why? See, this is the problem. You got Alabama going to be in it with Georgia and Texas and Tennessee, but you only get 1 team from the Big 12. Why is that? Why does Alabama rank over? I'm not sure they could beat Kansas now. Kansas is playing really well. So is Baylor, Colorado. I mean, none of those teams can make the playoff. If you're going to have 12 teams, have 12 teams, but you can't have 4 teams. Well, Penn State should not be in the playoff. They just showed they lost to Ohio State. They lost to Oregon. And that's the only 2 teams they played that were any good. So what are they going to, all of a sudden, they're going to show up in a playoff game? No. I mean, they should not have been in that playoff. It should have been Indiana because Ohio State with 2 losses. I'm not sure Ohio State can win any games. You lose to Michigan, really? The Oregon loss I can accept, but not losing at home to Michigan. You shouldn't be a playoff team. Alabama shouldn't be a playoff team. Colorado should, and so should Kansas and BYU, I think. Iowa State, they didn't show up. Arizona State looked really good. But again, here's the problem. They look good against Iowa State, who doesn't have that great defense they normally have or the running attack. That's where David Montgomery went, was Iowa State. And they were really good when he was there. So keep that in mind. People get too hung up on the last game and, Arizona State won 45-19. Doesn't make them a good team. BYU at home, they won 29-24. That's what you look, you got to look at the whole story. You can't look at the last game and go, they should be in. Arizona State playoff team, I don't know what they lost, 1 or 2 games. They lost to Cincinnati. But which one is it? Is it the big wins and you ignore the losses, or you look at the losses and you ignore the wins? Like Alabama, everybody wants to ignore the loss to Oklahoma, which was pathetic. They're a high school team. And Vandy, who's a good team, beat them. And then they lost another one. I think Old Mississippi or Tennessee. I think Tennessee beat them. So what are we doing here? Are we looking at, they beat Georgia, or are we looking at, but they lost to Oklahoma? Well, you can't have it both ways. Well, let's ignore the losses. Let's look at the wins. But we don't want to do that with the other teams. We don't want to look at Kansas's wins when they beat Iowa State, BYU, and Kansas State, and Colorado. We don't want to look at that. They did lose to Baylor. Okay. So that's the problem. The Mountain West, Boise, okay, they should be in. Um, uh, I'm not sure Marshall wouldn't do some damage in the playoffs, and yeah, Western Kentucky and that. No, that's not good. So, or the MAC. I mean, they're not playoff ready, but Marshall, I think, is a playoff team with the way they looked, going to Lou Lafayette and killing them, and they've been hot. Like UTSA has been hot, and but the brands aren't there. And then it's the stupidest playoff. I mean, at least the NFL doesn't have it. It's you win your division, you're in, and then 3 wild cards. It's easy. But yet college can't do that. College is going to sit there and go, well, let's have a committee. It's like the government. Let's have a committee and we'll look at it and probably going, who has the highest TV ratings? Oh, Alabama. They're higher than Kansas, so let's put Alabama in, or they're higher than Colorado, although I question that, the way Prime is. So we'll do that. I mean, well, Colorado's got 3 losses, but so does Alabama. They got Prime and they got Hunter and Prime Junior. They'd be watched, but let's not put them in because they're not Alabama. But Alabama sucks this year. Alabama will be one and done in the playoffs if they play anybody decent. And this whole thing's ridiculous. Sorry, I just don't. You got to get the bullshit commissioner out of it, or this voting, or this task force. It doesn't work. You need free market, as we teach in economics. Just you have to devise a way that it's really, well, we want to get Alabama in. So even if they have 12 losses, we'll put them in because they're Alabama and they should be in. This is how stupid it is. So you got to be very careful there. What exactly you're doing with this shit. And that's why it's such a bad thing, because it's government. This is communism, right? The government decides who does what, the market, right? So when I talk the difference between Keynesian and Austrian, Keynesian, the government wants to control the market, and in Austrian, it's free market. We control it, and it works much, much better. It's always worked, and the communist Keynesians who want the government to control it, it can never work because the government can't. They don't know what we want. I want to go buy golf clubs. They don't know that. I want to go buy ribs. They don't know that. I mean, they have no idea. I'm so happy I can eat in 1 hour. My 43 hours. I'm like, the walls are moving, but I'm coherent. I drink my water and my coffee. So that's the thing, and that's where, like, why are they holding gold down but not Bitcoin? Why is Bitcoin now? Bitcoin, like I said, got to 104,000 and then back down to 97,000. It's not stable. It's not currency because the problem with Bitcoin is nobody wants to spend it. For some reason, they think it'll just keep going up, and I don't know why. Are they really selling their dollars to buy Bitcoin at $100,000 of Bitcoin? Really? This is what they're doing? Not anymore. Now it's derivatives, and Larry Fink is controlling it, and you're fucked if you're in that. So they make a lot more in ETFs because ETFs are just Ponzi schemes. We saw it in gold and silver. You think you own physical gold. They even say it. It's physical gold. It's not physical gold. You can't get your gold out. You want physical gold, you do what I do. You go to the coin store or a SD Bullion or somewhere on eBay, and you go and you buy the coin. That is the only way to buy gold and silver. You buy it. You cannot buy ETFs because there's no gold in it. It's fake. And you can't buy stocks because they're not going to go up because they're manipulated. The only thing that isn't manipulated is the physical coins, gold and silver. That's why I tell you to buy it. But that's really where it's at. And so I don't know if people selling their dollars to go into Bitcoin, I mean, why would you do that? I mean, these are idiots if you're going to do that. I know we got guys here who buy Bitcoin, and I just shake my head at them because it's not anything that's real. If the dollar is not backed by gold, it's worthless in the beginning. As soon as it comes out, it's worthless, right? So this is worthless. It says €5. It's really monopoly money. It's not. It doesn't really have a value. And what happens is what a €5 20 years ago would buy, and a €5 now would buy. You might get a chicken dinner 20 years ago. Now you're getting a pack of gum. It maybe. So the dollar loses value, and this is where we're at. But like I'll watch, like I said, Bloomberg, and it's crazy. These the countries are going, oh, the inflation's going down. It can't. It's impossible. It's not because you're. Let's get to the real definition. You're inflating the money supply, or you're printing dollars. And if you're printing dollars, then how does it go down? You've printed $1 million. Okay, how can inflation go down? You didn't burn 500,000 of the million, right? It's still a million out there, and now you're printing more to pay for Social Security, pay for welfare, Medicare, the government employees and their pensions. So you're not taking the money you're getting in. In other words, so we go to a job, we make so much money, we make $20,000. But we can only spend the $20,000. We can't spend more because we don't have it. But the government spends more by 2 trillion, and they have a $36 trillion debt, which would be like us having 500,000 in credit cards that how can we pay back? So that's really the problem. People are going to go broke in Bitcoin, and the money's worthless. So people holding 401ks or money in the bank are all going to go broke, which is kind of what they want, because they want you in some sort of government money, although we're in government money. I don't see them getting rid of paper because the mafia won't allow it. They want to sell their drugs, and they make a lot of money, and the prostitutes, they make a lot of money. It's cash business. They're not getting rid of the cash. That'll never happen. So that's kind of what economics is. It's really, to get to the base of Austrian economics, it's the free market. It's what is it that you want, and then we'll make it for you. And then there'll be competition, which is what's great about the US, is we'll have competition. So if you don't like it from Joe, you'll buy it from Bill, or buy it from Fred. So multiple people will sell what you want. And that's basically economics. Like, I want something, okay, I'll sell it to you. And then you try to hit the market, which means I'll sell it to you. Well, how much should I sell it to you for? If a chicken dinner is $35, nobody's going to buy it. So you got to figure out, well, what will the market pay for my chicken dinner? And then it's like, oh, it's $10. People start paying. What can I do for 15? And then there'll be a drop off. All of a sudden, nobody will buy it. Then you realize I'm too high. Like the Camry at Toyota, as I said, I bought it for 24 grand. It goes up to 35 grand with the inflation, and nobody wants to buy it. So now he's panicking. I can't sell any cars. This is what he tells me. This is because the market's not there. You're selling into a zero market. People pay 24 for the Camry. Maybe you can go to 25, 26. You can't sell it for 35. So he lowers it to 27, and now he's selling it again. So again, this is a guy at Toyota, has no clue about economics, about free market, about the market itself and the prices in the market. He has no idea. And you're just, you're shaking your head going, how the fuck are you a sales manager? And you have no idea about that. He didn't know about gold. He was in Bitcoin. I go, it's worthless. And until he saw somebody else at an Oldsmobile dealership at the end of the day keep their money for bills, and the rest was going into gold. And then then the light turns on. So I made him a dirty comment like, "Oh, so when I tell you, you don't believe me, but when you see somebody else do it, now you believe it." That's kind of insulting. I get insulted a lot for some reason because I'll go off on different areas that nobody else can do. So when I tell you about gold at 20,000, nobody else says it. So you don't believe me because I'm the only one saying it. It doesn't mean I'm wrong, but you don't know what to do with me because you're going, well, $1,000 silver, it's at $30. It's never been over 50. Yeah, because it's COMEX, it's price fixed, it's derivative, it's not physical. So when I talk in $1,000 silver and $20,000 gold, it's physical. It's buying the coins and letting the coins go to their normal price. How the fuck is Bitcoin 100,000 and gold 2,700? How can this possibly be? Well, JP Morgan's keeping the gold and silver price down with derivatives because they don't let the free market price it. But for some reason, they're letting Bitcoin run. So if Bitcoin's 100, what do you think gold would be? 200, 500? Because gold's real and Bitcoin isn't. So realize that it's like an ETF. Gold is or Bitcoin is not real because what is it? You can't hold it. And in my mind, digital assets are all Ponzi schemes. It can only be an asset if you can hold it, right? My Mahomes card. It can only have a value if I can hold it. It can't have a value if it's digital because it's not real. It's just digital. I think Tom Brady tried to do that with autographs. Oh, we'll do digital autographs. I thought that was the stupidest thing in the world. And I think he got sued over that. He should have got sued over that. But that's the point. You can't do that. Let's see. So you got this war in Russia and the war in the Middle East, all created by the U.S. because they want to sell defense. The defense systems want to sell weapons. Why are we allowing this? Who's running this place that the defense contractors run to make the decisions? Not if I'm there. No, 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 no. The war is over. There is no war. There's no reason for the war. And we're using the Ukraine and killing all the Ukrainians, who I know a few Ukrainians, and it's ridiculous. So that's what you got to look at is why is the war going on? Putin wants to end it. He doesn't. It costs him. Wars cost a lot of money. He shoots all these missiles. It costs a lot of money. However, what a lot of these idiots don't understand is he's got 20,000 tons of gold. They're not going broke in the least bit. And even if their money is, a little inflated, they'll just back it by gold, and then it'll be the most valuable money because it's gold. Gold backs it. And the U.S. doesn't have any gold, or we would show it because nobody believes we have it. So in your Fort Knox, just show the gold and say, here's our gold. Let's audit it. Here it is. They won't do it because they don't have it. And once people realize they don't have it, we're bankrupt. We're already bankrupt, but because if we had gold, we'd make gold $25,000, $30,000 an ounce and then go pay off the debt because that's the only way you're going to do it. And you can't just ignore it and you can't not pay it off, as Egon told us yesterday. Okay, G. Quick timeout for G. Okay. Um, All right, G. I responded. Um, oh, that'd be nice. Yeah, feel free to paint me. That would be good. Um, Either gold or football, I guess. So anyway, um, when you've got to see, people are not stupid, they don't know. This hasn't been taught. The only place you can learn Austrian economics is right here, as far as I know it. Maybe the Mises Institute, but I've looked at that and I couldn't learn anything. They don't talk in English. All these other guys, the Andy Scheckmans and even Mark McGuire, they don't talk Austrian economics. The only one who kind of does is Egon. He gets it. You're going to print the money to zero. So it's very logical if you understand that if you do too much of one thing, it'll be worthless. If you notice, there's oranges on sale for 50 cents. Why? Because they got a shitload of oranges in at a cheap price, and now they got to sell them, and the only way they can sell them is to the price down. If you notice, that's why sales. What are they doing? They have inventory they can't sell because the price is too high, and they lower the price to get people interested because they know the market. And that's the thing. So if you understand that concept, which most people don't, then if you keep printing, it loses value. Well, that's a key concept to understand about money or about paper, fiat, which most people don't get. They don't understand. They can't connect the dots. Well, what do you mean if we print the money, it'll be worthless? People don't understand it because they've never heard it before. Here I am coming, and I am very confident and very sure about it and very stoic about it. I know that's what's going to happen. I'm not guessing. So, I mean, I'm trying to help you by explaining it, and people don't want to hear it. Well, I got my money in stocks. Well, what do you think is going to happen when the dollars gets printed to zero? The stock value goes to zero. The companies go to zero because all their assets are in money that's worthless. Oh, it can't go out. The government won't. I love this one. The government won't allow the dollar to die. Oh, really? And you think Julius Caesar, I'm sure he didn't want the money to die as he took all the gold and silver out of it and made it all copper and brass, which has no value. The Germans, I'm sure, Venezuela, Zimbabwe, Greece, let's go down the list, Argentina, Brazil. They don't want their dollar to go out, but their dollar has no value. And once nobody wants it, that's what I explained. So if nobody wants the Mahomes card, it's got a zero value. It only is valued if there's demand for it. So that's why it's tricky in the marketplace. You want to sell golf clubs, is there demand for it? And then you got to get the right price. And then you got to figure out what it costs you. So for golf clubs, if it costs you $300 to make and you want to sell it for $500, can you? Is there a market for it? Is there demand for it? And can I sell them for $500? You got to know all that before you start fucking around making the stuff, then hoping like this is what Tesla does. This is why I don't like Elon Musk. I think he's an idiot. Well, we'll do electric cars because the government wanted him to do, not because there was a market for it. So he does all these electric cars and he sells it for $100,000 because he doesn't care. He's got the subsidies. Nobody wants to spend $100,000 on it. I see people with Teslas. I just laugh going, you're an idiot. So nobody wants them. So he's making a product nobody wants, and especially at $100,000. Now he's tried lowering his prices, but I don't think he even cares because they keep popping up his stock price. So really, he's only rich because of his stock price on his company that's worthless. Nobody's buying $100,000 electric car. Nobody wants them, and it's way too. If I'm going to spend $100,000, I'm buying a Mercedes. I ain't spending it on an electric car. Well, Tesla's good. How do you know? Based on what? So that's what the market is. It's finding out what I want, not making a product I don't. And that's basically what Tesla's done. And then he's doing SpaceX. So I guess he's getting government contracts to do this. I don't know why. Nobody's going to run to Mars because you all die of radiation poisoning. And he's given 150 million to the government, to Trump. So he's now a lobbyist to get Trump to do what he wants. And Trump, all his big donors, it's lobby city. All the big donors are who he's putting in his office, not the right people, not people that are good, the lobbyists. That's who he's appointing. And this is why the problem with government all the way around. It's the lobbyists paying off all these guys, and it's terrible because they're doing what they want. But if I'm a senator or congressman, I got to do what the Constitution wants. What's best for me and you is what it should be, not what's best for his whatchamacallit, his lobbyist. And so Trump's a failure. My friend Alyssa, her mother's all depressed because Trump won. I says, why? There's nothing, he can't do anything. He doesn't know anything. Oh, he's going to destroy the country. I go, dear, it's already destroyed by George Soros. That's who you need to worry about, not Trump. Trump can't do anything. Trump doesn't know what he's doing anyway. He ran his thing into the ground, the Trump Towers and the casino. They all went broke. He doesn't know what he's doing. Just because you're rich and a CEO doesn't mean you have a clue of what you're doing. So this type of economics is very strong. Austrian economics, free market Adam Smith, put it that way, or it's called classical economics. And it's funny how people hear Austrian economics and they all like, oh my God, not that. Oh, that doesn't work. No, Keynesian doesn't work because you get the free market out of it. So the key is I make money and I want to buy things. That's what the market is supposed to be, not the government setting prices, which never works. You can't set prices. You can't have price controls because as costs go up, like I say on the golf clubs, well, okay, it cost me 300. I sell them for 5. You can't price control it at 200 because it cost me 300 to make them. You can't do it at 300 because I won't make them. I won't make profit. There's no point in making them. So if you don't let me sell it at 500, or if my costs go up because of the inflation, which simply means I need more money to buy the same goods and services because you've devalued the money by inflating it, not by debasement. These idiots, they keep talking debasement, which is basically coins, not the dollar. The dollar gets inflated, not debased. You can't take metal out of the dollar. There's no metal in it. So you're inflating it, which kills the value of it. But nobody seems to understand that concept. Oh, and inflation's getting better. Oh, really? How could it possibly get better? You printed in the US's case $160 trillion worldwide, which nobody wants. Japan's selling, China's selling, Germany's selling. They're all selling their T-bills to get into gold. All the central banks are doing this. So again, if nobody wants the item, it has no value. And if nobody wants the dollar, it has no value. That's what the de-dollarization is about. So Trump wants to force you to keep the dollar. And everybody's going, it's worthless. It doesn't have a value. Why would I keep it? It won't buy anything. Nobody wants it. So Trump's living in some dream world where I'm going to force you to take the dollar. I don't want it. And if I was China, like he wants to put these tariffs on it, go ahead. I'm not trying to sell to you anyway, because guess what? Your money's worthless. I don't want $1,000 that's worth $2. That's the biggest problem. So that's what people aren't getting. The dollar has no value. People don't want it. That's why they're all de-dollarizing, and that's why they're all selling dollars to buy gold, because they see the end of the dollar. That's why they're doing it. So just put 2 and 2 together. Well, why are the central banks? So I say, well, why are the central banks selling dollars to buy gold? Because they know the dollar is worthless. I'm telling it to you this way. I use the Titanic because it's easier. Because it's not the Titanic is the boat going to sink. So that's the dollar going to sink, and there's nothing you can do to stop it. Printing the money is the water coming in, and you need the lifeboat to get off the Titanic to survive. And you need gold and silver to get out of the dollar to survive. It's as simple as that. So anyway, that's the logic and basis of economics, real economics, classical Austrian economics. It's all based on what do you want, and then I'll make it for you. You can't price fix it like what they're doing with gold. You're nowhere near the real market in gold. So the government's telling you, well, we're going to make the price of gold 2,700. And the Russians and Chinese and the Indians are going, fuck you. I got all this gold. I want it to be 27,000. I don't want it to be 2,700. We're trying to keep the price down, which makes 0 sense. People don't even understand it. So if gold went to 10,000, what do you think? They're all going to get out of the dollars and buy the gold. First of all, there's not enough gold to do it. I'm going to go to my store probably tomorrow or for sure Friday, and we will see if they even have any. They'll probably have a few ounces, but I've been looking and hunting for quarters and halves. He hasn't had it because I don't want to necessarily spend 2,800 on the gold. But if you're going to keep it at 2,600, I'll buy an ounce at 27. And again, keep in mind, you're just trading it. You're trading this worthless piece of crap for gold, Rumpelstiltskin. So if I trade this, I didn't spend it. I have gold instead. So if I need money, I just go to the store and I go, all right, I'm going to give you an ounce of gold. Give me back 2,800, whatever spot's at, and he'll give it to you. So then you get back into the dollar if you need it. So you didn't spend a nickel. People just don't understand it. You're not spending anything. You're trading a worthless piece of paper for something with a great value of gold that is so undervalued, and silver. It's ridiculous. It's a no-brainer. You buy as much as you can. Now, to talk gold versus silver, it really doesn't really matter. It's as long as you're buying one of them. I prefer gold because it goes up. It'll go to 20,000, where silver, maybe it gets to 2 or 3. Does it get to 20,000? I don't know. And then the biggest thing is, it is the money. So the question of, well, what are you going to sell? What fiat are you going to take for it? And the question, and the answer is none. Gold will be the money. Did you ever hear of the Roman Empire where gold was the money? Now they'll back it by the dollar. So it'll be gold-backed money. So this will be backed by gold instead of backed by nothing. Like a Bitcoin. It's not backed by anything. It doesn't have a value. At least a Mahomes card's a card. You can see it. You can hold it. You always want assets that you can hold. A Picasso. Do you want a digital Picasso or do you want a real one? Or a Van Gogh over here? Do you want a real one or do you want a bullshit one? Mine's a poster, so it's a bullshit one. But I like it. I mean, it's nice having Van Gogh in the house, even though it's not real. But the point is, you have if you don't have it, it's if I don't have the physical gold or silver or Mahomes card, I don't have anything. Bitcoin, don't get caught in it. It's $100,000. They're trying to create a frenzy, so everybody goes in it, and it's not worth anything because so all the central banks are getting out of dollars to buy gold and silver, and yet all these people are going into Bitcoin. Well, the central banks aren't buying Bitcoin because it's not real money. Nobody wants to spend it. It's not accepted everywhere. It's a collectible where people are buying it to hold. How is that money? It's not money. What is it? We don't know. It's not real. So that's the point. All right, let's look at the line again. See if there's. All right. Refresh. Minnesota, 5.5 and 6, 46.5 to Atlanta. New Orleans, 5.5, 41. That hasn't moved. Jacksonville, Tennessee, 3.5 and 40. That was 39.5, went to 40, no big deal, 3.5. Tampa Bay, 6.5, 47 to Oakland. It's not really moved, half a point up in total. Pittsburgh, 6, 43 to Cleveland. That was a 6.5, down to 6. People are afraid of Winston, I guess, 43.5. Philly, 14, 45 to Carolina. That was 12.5, went to 13.5. I don't know who can bet and lay 14 in the NFL, because it doesn't matter the way the NFL works. They just want to win. So there's no incentive to score again and again. It's just, if you get a pick six or a punt return, that's how you score. But they're going to hand the ball, they're up 10. They're going to hand the ball to Barkley and run the clock out. They're not looking to score. It's not college. Miami, 6.5, 45 to the JETSs. Again, I told you the three guys from the JETSs are out. Arizona, 3, 45.5 to Seattle. This is up from 44.5. And 2.5 and 3. Buffalo, 3.5 and 49.5 to the Rams. I don't like that number, 3.5. The Niners, 3.5, 44 to the Bears. So it was 4, is now 3.5. Big deal. And still 44. Kansas City, 4 and 43 to San Diego. That number hasn't moved at all. And Cincinnati, 5.5, 49.5 to Dallas. And Dallas is a lot better with Cooper Rush than Dak Prescott. Let's look at next week's Army-Navy. I guess there's these are like the 17th. I guess these are bowl games already. I don't see Army-Navy. Let's see if we got any news in the NFL. NFL scores, live updates. Falcons take on Vikings. Yeah. Steelers, George Pickens, inactive versus the Browns. Okay, so Jacksonville, the inactives. They don't even put Trevor Lawrence on here, which is kind of strange. Nobody I've ever heard of. Tennessee. Joshua Kelly from UCLA. The JETSs, Sauce Gardner, Brees Hall, are out. Miami. Mozart is out. Atlanta. Nobody I've ever heard of. Minnesota. Brett Rippon is on the team. Well, they got all these great quarterbacks. Darnold, Brett Rippon, and Daniel Jones. Oh, my God. Stephon Gilmore's out. Drake Rodriguez, who knows? New Orleans. Spencer Adler's inactive. They're going with Jake Haener. That's who they should go. The Giants, 3 cornerbacks are out: Banks, Phillips, and Williams. Inside linebacker, 2 defensive linemen, and 2 tackles. Carolina, Javady and Clowney, he's always injured. 3 cornerbacks, probably nobody's. Philly, Reed Blaken's the safety's out. Cleveland, Bailey Zappi, why isn't he starting? Jesus. Deontay Foreman, I think he's from Texas or Florida State. Pittsburgh, Kyle Allen's out, the 3rd quarterback. Pickens is out. Cares. Oakland, Zamir White, a running back, and Alexander Madison, a running back. Tampa Bay, KJ Britt, linebacker. That's it. Seattle, Kenneth Walker out. Didn't know that. Trey Brown and Michael Dixon. Okay, so Kenneth Walker is out for Seattle. I like my bet even better. Arizona, cornerback Jones is out. Defensive tackle Jones, questionable. So if they're out, why are they questionable? So 2 defensive tackles are out for Arizona, a cornerback and a safety. Buffalo, Keon Coleman, a wide receiver, says he's questionable with the wrist. Well, I thought this was out. Dalton Kincaid from Utah, the tight end, he's really good, is questionable. The Rams, nobody. The Bears, DJ Moore is questionable. DeAndre Swift is questionable. What the fuck does that mean? What's the point of this? If they're inactive, then what are you doing? So I assume they're inactives. The Niners, Greenlaw out. Trent Williams out. Boza out. So I like my bet there too. San Diego, 2 linebackers are out. And a safety, and Ladd McConkey, I guess he's out. I don't know. This is confusing. It says questionable, but you're calling these inactives. KC, McCall Hardman is questionable. Cincinnati, nobody I've ever heard of. In Dallas, Zach Martin's out. And Trevon Diggs is questionable. So that's your latest injuries. How to watch the football games. The fuck? I turn on my TV and it's on, CBS or Fox. It's really hard. All right, so nothing going on here. So again, that's what's going on in the pros. 1 lock, several plays. Sometimes you play the game. You like the game. You don't love the game. You don't get a feel on it, but you like the game. So you play it, which is fine. I win a lot of those. I did that yesterday with Miami of Ohio. In Ohio, I played it under. I had a good feeling on it. I didn't lock it. I did love Arizona State over, and I did love Oregon. I couldn't believe the point spread. That's what creates the line. So here I'm getting 2.5 with Oregon. They're not going to lose to Penn State. And I love their offense. Dylan Gabriel's always just standing there, guys wide open all over the place. He's just throwing them. There's nobody within 10 yards of these guys. What a great offense they have. Dylan Gabriel probably should be the first quarterback taken in the draft. And all those running backs between Gentry at Boise and Dan, the guy from Kansas, and there's a few other good running backs probably should be drafted. A lot of good defensive players at Ole Miss and Tennessee and Texas look good. Georgia has a lot of good secondary players. I always crack up at the Lions. They won't take Georgia players, and you're always going, what the fuck? Oh, we'll take Alabama players. Why? They're not good. All right. 1237, we just did that. So again, keep in mind your economics. It's all very logical the way I teach it. So it's It's you want to sell things to the demand. So in other words, this Mahomes card I got, people will buy it because it's Mahomes and it's 50 count, which is why I bought it. I wouldn't have bought it if it was Mahomes, but not a 50 count. But because it was a 50 count, I bought it. So you're buying things because they are limited. This is why we buy gold and silver, is they can't print it. So we can't get fucked buying gold and silver by them all of a sudden printing a lot of gold and silver. They can't do it. And that's what COMEX kind of does with these derivatives, is they make a lot more gold than there is. But that's why I talk about physical gold. Bitcoin, how many is there? Well, in the ETF world, there's probably 21 billion. Well, 21 million. Prove it. Show me 21 million. Well, that's what Mr. Fuji said there were. Well, so what? Is he right? I don't think so. So now you got guys doing ETFs, which are just pure bullshit. And people, what do you think you have? See, in other words, so in gold and silver, if you do an ETF, you don't own any of the gold. You'll never own any of the gold. It's JP Morgan fucking with you. So what do you think? You're buying Bitcoin with the ETFs? Now, you're not going to get the gold and silver. Are you actually going to get the Bitcoin in the ETFs? Not a chance. So people don't understand ETFs. They don't understand Bitcoin. They don't understand gold. And they do it anyway because other people are doing it, so they do it. This is the biggest problem in investing. When I drive to the swim, all I hear is retirement planning, and they want to put you in dividend stocks. So when you retire, you can get it. And I keep going, but they're going to be worthless because they're priced in dollars. Why aren't you telling them to buy gold? If you really are worried about their retirement, you'd be mentioning gold, as I do. I don't get commission here. I don't want commission. I want to keep you from going bankrupt. Buy your gold and silver. It's simple, but you got to buy the coins. You can't do ETFs and you can't do stocks. I know how Luke thinks, the stock's going to go up 100 times. Yeah, bullshit. It's priced in money, and there has to be demand to buy it, and everybody's in Amazon and Apple and those stocks. Nobody is buying gold and silver stocks. That's why they're dropping. And when the foreigners start pulling their money because they realize the dollar's worthless. See, I think Saudi Arabia realizes it, so I don't know what they're doing. Russia and China realize it. That's what, but they only have T-bills. So China sells the T-bills, and so does Japan. They don't. I don't know if they. I don't know if they have stocks or not. Probably do, but it seems like they got a shitload of gold. So just play smart. I don't know. Okay, why are they doing it? All right, that's about it. I am very hungry. Enjoy the football games today. I would give a free game, but it keeps losing, so I don't want you to lose money. So I can't give a free game, unfortunately. But we'll see. Like I said, I do have one lock if you're interested. Again, www.teaserking.com. And there's about 4 or 5 teasers plus the lock. I did lock Arizona State with the lock today. So from that standpoint, it's been played how I played it. And again, I went 6-0 yesterday, 3-0 in the locks. You can't really try to figure me out as far as, well, I did really good 2 weeks ago and I didn't do really good last week, and then I did really good this week. It's all the theories, right? So I'm going to bet the same way, and most of the time it comes out, and some of it doesn't. So you got to realize that. So you can't like, oh, well, he had a shitty week last week, and you can't play all your money on one lock. It just doesn't work. You just money manage, increase your bankroll. Yeah, if I like a lock stronger, you might play it a little bit more, but I don't want to hear, oh, I played your lock and I lost all my money. Well, then you're an idiot. You don't bet all that because I picked so many right. You just keep playing them, right? You play 6 or 7 of my plays. You bet so much, and you'll win 5. You'll go 5-2, let's say. So then you increase your bankroll and you start slowly increasing your bet. I've learned that. You can't make a big bet. You can't just, oh, I'm going to bet 100,000 on this game. Not if you don't normally bet it. You can't assume that one play is going to work. It's just the theory's there. I like the team. It's a lock, but anything can happen in football. Anyway, that's it. I am going to eat. www.teaserking.com. Have a wonderful day. Good luck, everybody. Let's make some money. Go buy some gold with it. They're keeping that gold and silver price down, so it's a very strong buy right now. And gold never goes down. It just goes up. It's derivatives and options that are reasoning that the price goes down. Nobody's selling it. And for the few people that sell it, there's a few more buying it. So when I go to the gold store and he's got 5 ounces, I'm buying 2 or 3 of the 5 that he just brought in, because I know the people that sold it are clueless. They don't get it. All right. It's good to have a good day. I'm starving. And www.teaserking.com. Good luck, everybody.